Hey, this is Lady, and today I am here to do my 2015 reading wrap up. I started 2015 in a major reading slump. I did not read any books in January, February, or March. And that reading slump had last all of 2014. And I just had to figure out a way to get out of that reading slump. So the first book I read in 2015 was Kingdom Come by Tim LaHaye and Jerry Jenkins. This was the final book in the Left Behind series. I'm sure some of you all may be familiar with it, but I haven't heard much talk about it here on booktube because it is kind of an old series, but it's 16 books in all. 3 are considered to be a prequel to the Left Behind. It's called Before They're Left Behind, but I read all 16 books. After I finished Kingdom Come, I felt like a rush and I felt like I was getting back into my old reading habits. In 2015, I read a total of 42 books, which I feel was an awesome job considering the first 3 months I didn't read anything. So 42 books in say 9 months. I can deal with it. Currently, I am reading book number 42. I am ending the year by reading White Lines, All Falls Down by Tracy Brown. If you are not familiar with Tracy Brown, I strongly recommend her. If you, like me, has always read African American literature, or some call it street literature, urban fiction, things like that. I tend to call it hood fiction. If you have or have not read any of that type of novels, I would still strongly suggest Tracy Brown. Now, there are a lot of people out here writing these type of books and they just aren't even worth the paper they're written on, in my opinion. But Tracy Brown, she does it right. And this is supposed to be the end of a trilogy, and it's so good. We only have 2 days left in the year, and I got these little pages right here. So this is book number 42. This is how I am ending 2015. My favorite book in 2015 was Jubilee by Margaret Walker. I think I read this book in September, maybe August. I can't remember when, but it was my first buddy read being on BookTube. So there is a book talk about the book. I read the book with Monica, who is also here on BookTube, and I still think about those characters. The book is a family saga and it's also historical fiction, 2 of my favorite genres. If you have not read it, you should read it, and it was so good. I loved all those characters. It was the best book that I've read in 2015. In 2015, I read 8. You hear me? 8 nonfiction books. Prior to this year, I think the only nonfiction I read was pretty much for school, graduate school, undergrad, high school, all the way back then. So I am just really excited that I was able to read 8 nonfiction books this year, and I'm hoping to keep that going into 2016. My favorite nonfiction book of 2015 was The Fire Next Time by James Baldwin, and the close second is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. The book I was most excited about in 2015 was A Moment of Silence by Sister Soldier. I am a major fan of her writings, and I have read every book of hers. And when I found out about A Moment of Silence, it was like 2 weeks before it was released. I went that day and pre-ordered it, got it on the day of release, read it within a week's time. Really, I read like the last 300 pages of that book in one day. I just love everything about her writing, and I'm so excited. The last Saturday in January, I will be going to a book signing, so hopefully I'll get my book signed by her. I may take all my books with me, but that is very exciting. I have friends going with me. She's going to be in Atlanta, which is only a 2-hour ride So that should be fun. I'm really looking forward to that in 2016. My least favorite book of 2015 was Go Set a Watchman by Harper Lee. The book, what it wasn't that the book wasn't written well or that it just wasn't a good book. It was just like, for me. I mean, I fell for the hype, so I went on and got the book, read it, and after I read it, I was just like, okay, I can say I read it, but it's nothing about it that just really touched me. So that's that. This year I got into graphic novels, which was surprising for me, and I read quite a few, but my favorite was March, book 1 and book 2. Hopefully book 3 will come out next year. It was really good. I also have a video about it, so check it out. First book talk that I did when I joined BookTube in June of this year was Kindred by Octavia Butler. If you have not watched that video, you should check it out. That was my first Octavia Butler book, and hopefully it will not be my last. The most interesting reads I had in 2015 was by Tosca Lee. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I read 2 of her books this year. Havea, which is the story about Eve, from Adam and Eve, which was very good, very interesting, and Demon, a memoir. It is about a demon named Lucian who hires this writer to tell his story, while at the same time he's trying to tell the writer about what he needs to do as far as living his life, and about how horrible it was falling from grace. So you learn, Lucian, Lucifer. Very interesting, and I would strongly recommend that one as well. That's a book in 2015 that I read, but I didn't talk about it at all on BookTube, is Your Blues Ain't Like Mine by B.B. Moore Campbell. I don't know why I never did a book talk on it. I think because once I started reading it, I think I've read it before in the past, and so I believe it was a reread for me. I'm not really sure, but I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. It is so good. I want to read a quick blurb from GOODREADS about the book. Chicago-born Armstrong Todd is 15, black, and unused to the ways of the segregated Deep South. When his mother sends him to spend the summer with relatives in rural Mississippi, for speaking a few innocuous words in French to a white woman, Armstrong is killed. And the precariously balanced world and its determined people, white and black, are changed then and forever by horror of poverty, the legacy of justice, and the singular gift of love's power to heal. That book was good. From the beginning to end, you meet so many different characters and you feel that you know all of them. Well, in spite of my reading slump the first 3 months of 2015, I did great. I believe finishing with 42 books. I look forward to another year. I hope to stay active here on BookTube. I'll be celebrating 1 year in June, and I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully I continue to do this. I have read so many books in 2015 that I would not have even thought about reading had it not been for BookTube. So I will continue to stick around and enjoy everyone's videos. I hope everyone had a wonderful 2015, and I hope everyone is looking forward to 2016. Let me know, how many books did you read in 2015, and do you already have your goals for 2016? This is Lady. This has been my 2015 reading wrap up, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.